So it's the Mac World Expo, July 1999, and Steve Jobs is going to take the stage and he's going to tout the Mac's triumphant return to gaming. The game that he uses to display Apple's new focus is Halo. That's right, Bungie introduced Halo for Apple in front of Steve Jobs, claiming to not be a video but actual in game footage. The Apple trailer for the original Halo can tell us a lot. Halo was to be an action game with on foot and vehicle exploration on a vast, mysterious Halo ring. And you're going to be using flight, you're going to be driving around with your buddies, and you're going to be using unknown alien weapons that are going to allow you to take on the Covenant on a large, open scale. And the trailer really represents all a Halo has ever tried to be as a single player game, and that is multiplayer. You and your buddies can hop in and have some fun. Explorative, you're roaming this mysterious Halo, unraveling mysteries. It's multifaceted in that you are going to not just be running around like most first-person shooters, but also driving and flying around. And it is a sandbox game. Emphasis on a sandbox game. There are physics at play. Anything can happen, and there's no... Well, there is a way to go about things. There's no strict one linear hallway path to ultimately succeed. And of course, that does not have to be every single level of Halo, but these components blended together are what really makes Halo, well, Halo. And games in this series generally have stuck to attempting to deliver as much of these unique aspects of Halo at any given time. And sure, not every single level in a campaign needs to be a massive sandbox with vehicle segments, but most games have at least one level where the vision all really does come together. In Halo Combat Evolved, well, we have Halo, Delta Halo in Halo 2, the Covenant in Halo 3, and well, the whole damn game in Halo ODST, and Halo ODST is honestly probably the closest thing to a grandfather to Halo Infinite in terms of it achieving its desired scope. New Alexandria in Halo Reach, Reclaimer in Halo 4, and, well, as far as Halo 5 goes, please bring the Master Chief Collection to Halo 5 343 so I can actually play the game and give my insight on the levels there. And of course, there are other missions which have all of the best parts of Halo coming together. These were just some highlights. But these games also intentionally change focus for a change of pace. You wouldn't want things to get stale. You wouldn't want to be doing the same thing over and over. So you might be sniping in one level, for example. You might be surviving a horror. Or you might just be doing something scripted solely to be badass. And this ebb and flow allows Halo to hit the super high crescendos of their huge levels with vehicles and exploration, while also providing punctuated and intentional moments away from that sandbox. Halo Infinite is doubling down on Halo. Rather than the illusion of an open ring to explore, Halo is going open world with, well, an open ring to explore. To be more specific, it's actually fragments of a broken ring, but mission objectives string together on a larger map, and there are still linear levels. Those will serve as Act 1 and Act 3 of the 3-act campaign. So in this video, we're going to explore if the Halo Infinite campaign has perfected or even managed to elevate the tried and true formula, or if it crumbles under its lofty goals and ideas. Now I just want you to imagine the perfect Halo E3 demo. And by the way, for the Zoomers listening, E3 was a thing people flew out to try new and upcoming games. But yeah, Master Chief, not the other guy, is on a mysterious new Halo. You have Easter Island-like artifacts littering the vast landscape far as the eye can see, while classic Halo music plays. We're talking Marty O'Donnell shit here. Your AI, not some random person who you've never heard of or maybe is mentioned in the novels, is giving you an objective, but it's far away. So you crest a hill and you find a distressed platoon of Marines. While rescuing them, you see that Chief has some new tricks up his sleeve. He can, for instance, shoot a grapple hook, and it looks really cool. Rescuing them nets you a warthog and a crew to pilot it. And with your newfound squad, you drive across the Halo to take out your high-profile target. All seamless, all vast, all awe-inspiring. And this is literally every 15 minutes of Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite largely takes place on Zeta Halo, a large open map littered with objectives. It is every Halo explorer's dream. And every 10 minutes, 343 tries to give you a proper E3 demo. Vehicle, objective, upgrade, supply, repeat. It actually reminds you a lot of Breath of the Wild, which may sound like a broken record by 2022. It has been 5 years, but Chief has, well, already lost, much like Link in Breath of the Wild. He is fighting an uphill battle against the Banished that he had lost to fighting a considerable time ago. There are new locomotion mechanics for exploring the world, where Link could climb and glide. Chief has this grapple hook, and... wait a minute. They really stole the Nintendo Switch sound? And this is all with the backdrop of Halo lore surrounding you. The ring, the history, the music, and the story. And speaking of, this is by far the best Halo original soundtrack, in my opinion. Does it borrow heavily from old stuff? Yeah. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. But the way that the old is integrated into the new, with the new, is what makes it special. Every track, new and old, tickling at nostalgia or not, they're all bangers. And I even listen to the music while not playing occasionally, which is really weird to think because first-person shooter music is not usually the type of thing that you're listening to just casually, unless you're a Doom head. And the story, well, Halo kind of put themselves into a pickle after Halo 5, now didn't they? In general, Halo stories rarely do it to me. They're too grandiose and I'm really just trying to click heads with my mates, but when Halo can tell a personal story, I'm all on board. Halo Reach, that bangs. Playing as an unnamed soldier, already knowing the fate of you, your squad, and the planet, it's just told so maturely and professionally, and it keeps things simple, and that's what I really like about Halo Reach. Infinite rescopes the ridiculousness of 5, which, spoiler alert, went batshit crazy, and scales things way down to a cast of essentially 6, and it works pretty darn well. Master Chief kind of becomes Daddy Chief with his new ragtag team of the weapon, his brand new AI, and the pilot, who doesn't seem like he's entirely confident in what's going to be happening during the events of Halo Infinite. The acting is really good, and for the most part, things stay approachable to newcomers and Halo veterans alike. And a few nitpicks would be that 5 did set up some insane things, which mostly happen off screen. It feels like there's an entire game missing between Infinite and 5, especially because you literally start in medias res. Infinite also feels like a stepping stone game, a bridge that is basically bubblegum and duct tape bridging where they want to go while trying to tie up loose ends from what was done in the past. Now put things in a good spot moving forward, which is probably most important, but back to the E3 demo. And while there is some new equipment, you can throw it all in the garbage except for the grappling hook. Halo unshamingly copied Doom's homework, and the grapple hook is an absolute win. Is a 1-ton man swinging around on a grapple hook realistic? Well, don't think about it too much. Can a 1-ton man really be pulled towards a grunt instead of the other way around? Don't think about it too much. In the 2500s, will we really be using a grapple hook? Again, don't think about it too much. All that matters is it's really fun, and speaking of fun, this is the best that Halo's bones have ever felt. And when I say bones, let's get talking. I know this might cause some hashtag drama, but I am team Sprint, and Sprint existing with cooldown equipment and new tricks like the kick-ass slide, which, yeah, they copied Apex's homework too, breathes some fresh air into a 20-year-old franchise. Chief has got drip, and he can move with the rest of them now. And guns feel so crunchy when you shoot them. I love the sounds that they make, and with some exceptions, the stinkers like the little zappy zap gun, kind of sucking. The general arsenal is right up there with my favorite Halos, so Daddy Chief can move with them, shoot with them, and deliver a great audio-visual experience. But what about when the things are not open world? Well, Like I said in the intro, past Halos focus on some cool aspects of the sandbox. Sniping, flying, set piecing. Infinite plays it very safe with the linear levels, mostly acting as story beats, but the hallway fights do mix things up a bit from the openness of the Zeta Halo ring at the very least. So yeah, Halo Infinite delivers what is most important. Master Chief and his AI partner are on a Halo killing stuff, and it looks and sounds cool. Great start, right? What could go wrong? So, unfortunately, this is the worst performing game I have played since Cyberpunk 2077, and I had a lot of good things to say about that game. Now, there's a lot to talk about in terms of the performance. Before we even get to talking about the performance, we need to talk about getting the game running. Getting this game to work on Game Pass was, and I assume still is, based on the subreddit post, an absolute nightmare. First of all, getting anything to work on Game Pass sucks, let alone a Microsoft product. After downloading the game, it refused to let me play the campaign well after the campaign was released, even after resets, even after getting the latest version of Windows, all that. After playing it once, it then refused to launch again without me re-downloading it. I had to reinstall this game several times to get it to launch. And it would be, and oftentimes when I was trying to launch it, I would just be taken to a weird, unrelated Microsoft product page that I had to download, which wouldn't download. When I hit play, it was horrible. But anyways, once the game is running, it crashes constantly. And yeah, I'm talking about having the newest drivers. I'm talking at least once an hour. I could not even get past the Spire level, because no matter what I did, there was a crash. I found out that if I could essentially speed run it, I could get past the exact spot that was causing a crash fast enough that it wouldn't crash. And I could maybe understand this for a smaller game on Game Pass, but here's the thing. Microsoft owns the operating system, they own the storefront, they own the Game Pass product, and they own the studio. There's literally no excuse for this not to be working well. And performance is, well, frankly disappointing. The linear levels are fine, but the whole thing collapses under the weight of the open world. There are other general technical oddities that further kill the experience. You should check out Digital Foundry's PC review, but in general, weapon reloads, they're weirdly skipping frames, there's some weird wobbling when you're in the open world, and everything just comes together as a pretty unpleasant experience. In fact, the issues followed me to the very end of the game, where I was unable to skip the credits. I confirmed this with one of my friends. Yeah, I'm hitting skip on my keyboard. I cannot skip the 20-minute credits, and that just sucks because there are not a lot of little cosmetic bugs which riddle modern AAA games. The actual meat and potatoes plays pretty well, but what's unfortunate is these issues make it pretty much impossible to enjoy the damn game. When the game's crashing every hour and you can't watch it and you're reinstalling things, geez, that really just sucks. So Halo Infinite could have been Game of the Year, should have been Game of the Year. I said in my Game of the Year video that Halo Infinite was going to be my Game of the Year. I was having such a great time initially, and most of the positive stuff in this review came from my early impressions. And this really felt like the best Halo campaign. And while maybe the first 6 hours or so were a really good time, the flaws started to show themselves, starting with the content. There are 3 environments in Halo Infinite. The Halo, inside the Halo, and the banished structures. And while parts of Halo can be beautiful, it's all very, very samey. It's like being in Washington State. Every other Halo has had much, much more variety. Desert, snow, swamps. This is by far the least amount of visual diversity, not just in Halo, but in a recent AAA release I have played. And the visual variety wouldn't matter much if the game loop was on point. And it is fun until you realize that there's 3 things to do. Kill a target, rescue Marines, destroy a base. Oh, and carry a power seed. I'm sorry, 343, I forgot to mention carrying the power seed, which 343 thought was just so damn fun that they made a whole multiplayer mode around it. But this is not a review of multiplayer. And the rewards are, well, essentially meaningless. I only use the grapple, like I said, throw all the rest in the garbage, and I had more than enough upgrade points. It was hardly noticeable, the upgrades that you were seeing. Yeah. Probably the worst thing that compounds all this stuff is that the objectives are not always clear. The UI of the map can be a little inconsistent between objective types. It's not always clear if you've completed objectives the way different objectives display success differently. So when you're looking at the map, you might be like, did I capture this forward operating base before, or did I kill this high ranking target? Because the UI design, the user experience is a little jumbled up. When you get to an objective, things can also be a bit murky as to what you actually have to do. Usually it's hit a button followed by blow things up. That's a free tip for you guys. So while playing Halo is as fun as ever, the objectives and rewards are limited in quantity and somewhat underwhelming. All of it boils down to go to base, kill everything with no strategic elements. This isn't like other open world games like Metal Gear Solid, which have myriad ways to infiltrate. There's no stealth, for example. You just go kill everything. And while that is fun, and while Halo is the best playing it's ever felt, the content is certainly lacking. Okay, so not a lot of content variety, but what else holds Infinite back? Well, a staple of Halo is multiplayer, right? Halo 5? Halo is a sandbox game, and that sandbox is best enjoyed with your friends. Vehicles are designed to hold multiple passengers so you and your friends can cause mayhem. And this open world Halo would have been perfect for multiplayer, which makes its absence all the more disappointing. A dearth of content, no multiplayer, and horrific technical issues take what is easily the best feeling and mechanically sound Halo and plunges it past prior entries, which have the whole package and then some. So in conclusion, I think that sums up Halo really well, actually. This is the best Halo has ever felt. Grappling, exploring, fighting, it all feels incredible to control the Chief. This is the best Halo has ever presented itself. The story's grounded, and it reset things in a good way. It's not overly complicated, a personal, well-delivered story with easily the best soundtrack in the series. This is the best Halo concept has felt in a generation. Truly feels like the growing pains of 4 and 5 are largely over. A return to roots is certainly a move in the right direction, but this is not the best Halo. While other games may not have been truly open, their balance of varied objectives, multiplayer, and a performant game more than makes up for a lacking, more open world. But there is a lot of hope and a lot of work out there. 2022, hopefully we can patch up those technical issues. Hopefully multiplayer can come later down the line, and the story is in a solid place for expansions to improve the visual and gameplay variety. So while Halo Infinite is a solid campaign for the series and a pivot towards a better future, the Chief still has a lot more work to do.